Hello students, I am Pushprata Miss. Welcome to my channel. I hope you all are safe at home. Stay home and stay safe. Today let us continue chapter number 8, the first empire, the Mauryas, in that spread of Dharma. To spread the message of Dharma, he undertook the following. Ashoka appointed officials known as Dharma Mahamatras who went from place to place to teach people about the Dharma. Second, Ashok got the teachings of Buddha inscribed on rocks and pillars known as edicts and had them set up the places all over his empire. He also instructed his officials to read them to those who could not read. In these edicts, Ashoka called himself the father of his people and is referred to as Vyadasi, meaning blessed by the gods. These edicts have been found in Afghanistan, Nepal, India, and some even in present-day Pakistan also. The edicts were written in different scripts such as Kharosthi, Brahmi, Greek, and Aramaic. Ashoka also sent his officials to Syria, Egypt, Greece, and Sri Lanka to spread Dharma. He sent his son Mahendra and daughter Sanghamitra to spread Buddhism. He got a number of stupas and viharas built for the Buddhist monks. He conducted the third Buddhist council at the capital city, Pataliputra, to settle the differences regarding various interpretations of Buddha's teachings. Then, what about Maurya's administration? Mauryan administration. The knowledge and information about the Mauryan administration can be gained from Chanakya's Arthashastra, Ashokan pillars and edicts, and Jain and Buddhist texts. Then, centralized administration. The Mauryan king ruled the kingdom directly and all the power was in his hands. He was the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. The emperor, along with the members of the royal family and senior ministers who supervised the whole administration. Officials were appointed to collect taxes from farmers, herders, craftspersons, and traders. They also had the authority to punish those who disobeyed the ruler's orders. Messengers and spies were also employed to keep a watch on the internal and external affairs. The king also went on secret inspection tours to make sure that people in kingdom were well looked after. Due to the large size of the emperor, it was divided into provinces. The royal princes governed the provinces as king's representatives. The provinces were further divided into districts. Then each district had many nagaras, towns or cities, and gramas, and villages. The areas were ruled differently in different parts. Then the capital city, Pataliputra. There were many cities in the Mauryan Empire. According to an account in Indica by Megasthenes, the capital city of Pataliputra was the most impressive, and its administration and layout. The Mauryan Emperor Chandragupta Maurya lived in a large palace in Pataliputra. The pillars in the palace were beautifully decorated. The city was surrounded with a high wooden wall and deep moats. Moats means a wide deep ditch usually filled with water surrounding a castle or fort for defense purpose. The wall had 64 gates and 570 towers. The city was also well connected with the different parts of the empire. Then, the administration was managed by 30 officials divided into 6 committees. Each committee looked after a special department such as industries, foreigners, trade and commerce, sanitation, registration of births and deaths, etc. The next is trade. After Pataliputra, Taxila and Ujjain were the other two important cities. Taxila was a gateway to the northwest, including Central Asia, while Ujjain lay on the road from north to South India. There was a highway connecting Pataliputra with Taxila. It is believed that usually merchants, officials, and craftspersons resided in these cities. Mauryans were also involved in the overseas trade with China, Egypt, Rome, and Sri Lanka. Roads and rivers were also established and maintained by the Mauryas. Through the Arthashastra, we get to know that the northwest part of the empire was important for blankets and South India for its gold and precious stones. Then army. The Mauryan Empire had a brilliant, well-equipped army. It had infantry, means foot soldiers, cavalry, horsemen, and was well equipped with war transport including chariots and elephants. A part of the amount collected through tax was paid as salary to the soldiers. Then taxation. Taxes were collected both in cash and kind. Tributes were not collected on a regular basis and people gave it more or less willingly. Tributes means an act or gift or statement done or given as a sign of gratitude or respect, means gifts. Okay. Then taxes were collected on a regular basis and it was compulsory for the people to pay them. There were designated officials who were responsible for collecting taxes and keeping records. The people sometimes undertook the role of a judge to mete out justice. Those who failed to pay taxes were often punished. Tributes were paid in a variety of forms. People living in the forested regions were accepted to provide elephants, timber, honey, and wax to Mauryan officials as tribute. Land tax was the major source of revenue and varied from 1/6 to 1/4 of the produce. The other taxes that were collected were customs duty, sales tax, taxes on craft and trade. There is also a mention of water tax in Arthashastra. These taxes were used for welfare measures. Next, art and architecture. The Mauryan art and architecture was appreciated right from the reign of Chandragupta, but it reached new heights under the rule of Ashoka. In his attempt to promote Buddhism, he built many stupas and viharas. The various pillar edicts made by Ashoka were objects of wonder for many craftsmen. One such Ashokan pillar at Sarnath, which contains the lion capital. The lion capital has 4 lions standing back and below each lion is a wheel known as Ashoka Chakra. The national emblem of India is adaptation of this lion capital. The Indian currency and all important Indian documents have the symbol of the lion capital on them. The Ashoka Chakra also appears on the Indian flag. Next, decline of the Mauryas. The Mauryan Empire gradually began to decline after the death of Ashoka in 232 BCE. Many reasons led to the weakening of the Mauryan Empire. First of all, the weak successor of Ashoka could not control an empire as large as the Mauryan Empire. Then, the internal rivalries and disunity added to the weakening of the administration. The far-flung provinces broke away and became independent. Expenses to maintain such a large empire and its army were too much, which could not be met. Corrupt officials affected the administration. Then emergency of Sunga dynasty. The last Mauryan ruler, Brihadratha, was killed in 185 BC by his own commander-in-chief, Pushyamitra Sunga, who later founded the Sunga dynasty. The founder of a Sunga dynasty was Pushyamitra Sunga. Then other dynasties. The Sungas were followed by another dynasty known as the Kanvas. The western parts of central India were ruled by the Shatavahanas for about 400 years, and around 1700 years ago a new ruling family known as the Vakatakas became powerful in central and western India. Many other kingdoms and dynasties emerged after that, but none could match the splendor of the mighty Mauryans for the next 1000 years to come. Okay, next elsewhere at the same time, about 2400 years ago, the Chinese emperors built the Great Wall of China to protect the northern frontier of the empire from pastoral people. The wall is about 6,400 km long and is made of stone and brick with a road along the top. Several thousand people worked to build the wall. The watchtowers were also built all round at the distances about 100 to 200 meters to keep a check over the enemies. Okay students, these are about the chapter 8, the first empire and the Mauryas. Thank you.